Hi, we're the Savannah Bananas, and today we're presenting our APCS final project, FrogDungeon. So, the story behind our game is that you, the player, are a frog adventurer of the Frog Kingdom. Now, a little while ago, the fair Princess Gorf of your kingdom was kidnapped by the evil frog sorcerer and was trapped in a magical dungeon. It is now your mission to navigate this dungeon, defeat the sorcerer, and rescue the princess. Now, the dungeon is set up like a magical shifting maze, so each time you enter it will have a completely different layout. This dungeon is filled to the brim with enemies that will vary in difficulty, and you can use weapons, melee and ranged, to defeat them to gain useful items and coins. As you progress, you may also find a helpful friend who's willing to barter these coins for more powerful items, because if you do get knocked out, you will be sent back to restart your quest in a completely different maze.
When you open the game, a screen will pop up with 3 buttons: New Game, Load Game, and How to Play. When you click How to Play, a screen will pop up with basic directions on how to play the game. When you click New Game, a new game will start. To move, press W, A, S, and D, and to attack, left click for melee, and right click for projectiles.
At the top of the screen, you can find some helpful information about your player, your health bar, and your current melee and ranged weapon. In this case, Jeremy has a knife and a bow.
Now that we've killed enough monsters and gotten enough coins, we can make our way to the shopkeeper icon in the mini-map in the lower left-hand corner. When you interact with him, you will see a GUI with different items that you can buy. Because I have 150 coins, I will buy a rifle and a sword. Now I'm gonna make my way down to the boss. As you can see, I found the boss tile, but first I want to save my data. To do this, click Pause Game, Save Game, save it to a file. I'll just call it Untitled for now. Exit, and now click Load Game, and you can see that your file has been saved. And you end up in the same position as you were when you saved it. Now I'm going to take on the boss. The boss is a sorcerer that shoots magic that can spawn different monsters, and will shoot the magic faster when its health gets depleted. When you beat the game, there will be a victory screen, which you can exit and return back to the main menu.
In total, our project had 38 classes. We start with a main class which creates a drawing surface. The drawing surface contains a list of screens, and it implements the screen switcher interface. Whenever one of drawing surface's methods are called, like draw or mouse clicked, the drawing surface will call the corresponding method of the current active screen. That way, only the correct screen is drawn and updated. We have several screens, such as the menu screen, the info screen, and the game over screen. Each screen has a list of buttons, which will run code when they're pressed. For instance, when the pause button is pressed, the drawing surface's switch screen method is called. The screen superclass is extended by each unique screen. The primary screen is FrogDungeon. FrogDungeon generates a random maze of walls, places a shopkeeper randomly in the top left quarter of the maze, and places the trapdoor to the boss room in the bottom right quarter of the maze. The FrogDungeon also contains a list of monsters that are updated every frame. Frog is the player class, which contains several lists of images, which let the frog be animated. It can face either direction and it can either be running or standing still. When the user right-clicks, the player shoots its ranged weapon. All weapons are either melee weapons or ranged weapons. Melee weapons deal damage when the user left-clicks and their hitbox is touching a monster. Ranged weapons are shot when the user right-clicks. Unique weapons have different values for how much damage they deal to monsters and how far its projectiles can travel. The monster class extends the entity class. Each monster has unique traits. A fly is fast but does not have much health. A snake is slower but has more health. The sorcerer is the final boss, which spawns snakes and flies as it shoots bullets.
If we had more time, we definitely would have liked to fix more bugs as well as add more features. Some of these features could have been adding more monsters, weapons, and items, such as monsters with different skills and attack patterns, weapons with unique abilities such as magic, as well as armor to increase defense. Another addition would have been making rooms more interesting, because currently they don't really have much aside from monsters and walls. Things like chests, hidden paths, obstacles, etc. would have been nice just to make rooms a bit more interesting to explore in. We also would have liked to add themed rooms with unique enemies, treasure rooms, and possibly even mini-boss rooms. Finally, we would have liked to ensure smoother gameplay, just making the game look overall more professional and easier to function. Things like character animations for shooting and hitting, monster attack animations, floor and wall images, which we did try to add but ended up dropping the frames, bullet sprites, consistency and pixel size, as well as not being able to shoot a bow 10 times a second. And finally, just overall balancing and testing of our game.